Hello, folks. This is Dom. So we're here for this is a round 5 match that's being played after one of the round 6 matches. That's why Hunter already has 5 results. And you'll notice that I put that match before this one in the playlist because I did the playlist in chronological order. So if you're clicking on this to try to be smart, go back and watch the previous match from round 6, and then come back to watch this match, which is the last match of round 5. Because it's hard to schedule stuff as you get later in the round robin because there's only so many pairings and all that. So Michael has won the roll, and he has 2 lands: a Fireball, Beacon, Volt Charge, Electrostatic Bolt, Swarm Lord. Those 2 landers on the play are always close. I think he'll probably keep it though. I missed Hunter's hand, but it looks like he has taken a mulligan. He's kept Copper Mirror into Grafted War Gear, so he's gonna be looking for some gas here. And also note that Michael's deck is very anti-artifact, and Hunter's hand contains 2 artifacts. And Hunter's probably going to rely on his critters that are not artifacts here. Well, Perilous Mirror at least does something when it dies. So that's where we are. The early story in the game here is going to be is can Michael hit his 3rd and 4th land drop. And drawing that forest is a very good start. Alright, so here comes a Copper Mirror. And that's going to take 4 damage from this Electrostatic Bolt just for adding insult to injury, so it's going to die anyway. Michael will now get to play. I imagine he's going to play a forest, because if he draws another forest, then casting Beacon of Creation for 3 insects seems alright. And this lets him leave up Volt Charge. Nothing to proliferate, but there's Massacre Worm, which we've seen do quite a bit of work for Hunter in this tournament. And he's going to cast his Perilous Mirror. Might just have to decide if he wants to take 2 damage to kill this 1/1. I think he may. Yep, he drew the forest. I think he's probably just going to cast Beacon of Creation here. And that'll give him 3 1/1s, and it makes Perilous Mirror not very scary. It does make Massacre Worm better. I don't know, so he's actually not casting it yet. Hunter draws Bleak Coven Vampires, which I don't think he's been able to trigger yet the entire event, but he is about to cast a 2nd artifact here. So maybe he'll get a chance later. So, Grafted War Gear is getting equipped. Now I think we might see a Volt Charge. Not sure if Michael wants to take 4 damage here. Yeah. So he's just going to take 2. And that'll get Perilous Mirror off the table. Also makes this Metalcraft harder to get. Michael untaps. Draws Horde Smelter Dragon, which he can cast next turn, or along with the Swarm Lord. I think now we're going to see Beacon of Creation, especially since he has 2 things to do on 6. You can see Hunter has his Go for the Throat, which will answer one of these 2 creatures, but not both of them. And we've got an Insectile Aberration, Insect token. Wait, 4 tokens. For each forest you control. Okay, yeah. It was all forests in play during 5. I need to go and fix some of my token art. It just doesn't work right for some reason. Here's Moriok Replica, which is the play because there isn't another one. But it's not really what Hunter wants here, I would imagine. Michael draws Creeping Corrosion, which this seems like a reasonable time to cast that. It's the old 2 for 1. Can't sack this Moriok Replica to hit more land drops. He also doesn't really have any other plays, so I'll be pretty surprised if he doesn't cast this right now. And here is the overall first pick of the draft, Creeping Corrosion. Michael seems to be firmly in control of this game. Hunter takes 3. He's going to have to draw something. Geth's Verdict seems extremely weak against these 1/1 insects. He's probably just going to have to take another 3. Hope to cast that Bleak Coven Vampires and get in the way. Oh, but here's land number 6. This is going to really bring a large fatty with it. Insects. Attack for 3. And Hunter's going to drop to 14. I guess there's a temptation just to cast Geth's Verdict, but like he has a Massacre Worm, which would make the Geth's Verdict a lot better later. Right, so Phyrexian Swarm Lord, 4/4 Infect. Well, it's dead anyway. So it makes a 1/1 Infect token for each poison counter your opponent has, which would have been 0, but the spot removal continues with a Dismember. That actually will kill the Horde Smelter Dragon, so it's a pretty good draw if he was going to miss on his land. Attack for 3. This is actually close. I think if Hunter hits a couple of lands here, he could probably get back in the game. Here's Horde Smelter Dragon. That is going to be dismembered. There's land number 5. So yeah, here comes a 5-mana 4/3. So we're casting Zombie Goliath. Could probably do better, but it'll work. Michael draws Deathhood Cobra, which is okay, but dies to Massacre Worm. It's interesting to see if Michael will. He could Fireball. Let's see. So he's got 8 mana. So he could Fireball Bleak Coven Vampires and Hunter each for 3. I'm pretty sure. Is that how this works? So X equals 6. Yeah, and then you pay 1 more. So he can Searing Blaze this basically and put Hunter down to 5. He could also Fireball for 3 and cast the Deathhood Cobra. I think he's considering that option as well. But I don't know, I think I miscounted. He only has 7 lands, so he can't do what I said. So he's just going to Fireball it for 3 and play the Deathwood Cobra. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. He could do it for X equals 6, but he doesn't have the 1 more to split it in half. So I think that was his only play there. Hunter hits the Swamp. And that is literally going to massacre the other side of the table, deal 8 damage. And now Geth's Verdict is basically on to hit whatever gets drawn here. Rotwolf. He has to cast it. Oh, well then, Sword of Body and Mind. This is gross. Hunter's deck is quite good. If he had 1 more mana, he could actually Geth's Verdict and get in for lethal. So I was going to go to 2. So this Geth's Verdict is just lethal, like no matter what it kills, because of Massacre Worm's trigger. I guess we're milling 10 cards. You can read them in the bottom right window. I'll scroll through them, but I'm not going to just like say all these things because the game's basically over. I could just open the graveyard, I guess. Well, that was obnoxious. Whoops. So yeah, Hunter looked like he was in huge trouble in that game, but drawing the second removal spell and then drawing the 3rd swamp for Massacre Worm was enough to take the game. And he now leads 1-0. Looking to move to 6-0. I will also be playing Michael in the next round, looking to move to 6-0. Hunter and I will play in round 7, and the winner of that match will be the overall number 1 seed in the playoffs. And that is important because the number 1 seed gets to create the bracket of the top 4. So you don't have to, if you're the number 1 seed, you can play the 2, the 3, or the 4, whoever you want. So although it's turned out the first 2 seasons we've done this, the 1 seed has chosen to play the 4 seed both times. So that's sort of interesting. Both players currently in the sideboard. Here is Hunter's sideboard. And don't think we'll be seeing Emissary of Despair or Silvok Replica. Maybe Phyrexian Crusader has protection from red. It seems somewhat relevant. Yeah, we'll see. But they're getting back to the game, so whoops, hit the wrong button. It's a really old screen. Okay. Alright, here we go. So Michael again on the play. Hunter has 2 lands, some spells. Michael, man, I was trying really fast to like look at both hands before they mulliganed, but Michael mulliganed so quickly. I was like, okay, Hunter, 2 lands, 5 spells, look up. Oh, we're already on 6. Michael's gonna get to scry. This hand seems okay. He's got 2 and a 3 if he can find a forest in the top 2 cards. It's like he has bottomed Eternal Witness, which I guess makes sense. Well, Hunter's gonna have. Oh, he boarded in Asceticism. That's a pretty interesting one. Plays around removal pretty effectively. And there's a forest right on time for Mirrodin Zealot. You're about to see a bit of a flavor fail as Mirrodin Emissary is cast on the other side. We're going to just have this like Viridian elf standoff thing going on here. Hunter did draw his 3rd land, so he doesn't have to trade here, although he probably will if given the opportunity to protect his sword of body and mind. And here's a Rotwolf. Yeah, Michael's not going to attack. That's a Copper Mirror. There's the draw for Hunter. By the way, any moment now, my oven timer is going to go off, and you're going to hear some beeping, and I'm going to have to leave for a moment to... I started cooking dinner before I found out this match was going to be played, so I have to change some things out in the oven. Alright, so Copper Mirror is the play. Michael draws Beacon of Creation, so he is unable to cast anything except a Fireball for 2. He could Fireball both of these creatures. That's not the worst. He's just going to attack that with Rotwolf. It'd be interesting. I think Hunter is going to trade the Mirrodin Emissary, even though it would let Michael draw a card, but he'll get his 4th land. And soon he has 2 6-drops in hand, and the sword is expensive. This is expensive. He probably just needs to cast a 5 next turn. Whether that be Asceticism or like sword equip attack, which also I think that could happen. The Swarm Lord is the draw. Two mana Steel Hellkite. He fireballs a Copper Mirror. So it's a pretty interesting play. He could have, like I said, fireballed both creatures and dealt 2 Infect, but instead he chose to draw a card. Skinrender is a pretty good pickup here for Hunter. So he would have had to cast Blind Mirrodin Emissary or Sword with nothing to equip. And now he has a pretty good play on 4 mana. And down comes Skinrender, and that will shred the Viridian Zealot. Michael now really needs to draw land. Forest would be better. Troll Ascetic isn't bad, though. That is a castable spell. Can block starting next turn. Although if Hunter hits land here, it's just going to be a sword equip. Hunter's going to take swords for 400, and Skinrender is going to get in for 5, and mill 10, and make a wolf. So any Sword of Body and Mind was arguably I think the worst sword in limited or in constructed, but it's probably the best one in limited, at least of the 3 in Scars Mirrodin. I didn't get to play the original Mirrodin until like now, basically, or some of the cards are in modern. But I remember how bonkers the sword was in limited. Just like kill the opponent in 2 or 3 hits. I almost got hammer time here on the troll. It's probably gonna be too slow. This actually would allow Michael to race. There's the timer. See if this game's over when I get back. All right, I'm back. Game is still alive, except no, it's not. Never mind. Look at all my unplayable spells. Yeah, trying to reconstruct what happened. It looks like it was just another sword hit, and yeah, he got milled out. So Hunter moves to 6-0. Michael's gonna drop to 2 and 3, and that makes things pretty interesting. I'm getting video called here. Let's get into that. We'll talk to the players here.
Kingmaker.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey.
Masker Worm is just absolutely destroying people today.
It really is.
Yeah, it is some of the biggest blowouts I've ever seen in this format, or Roto format. I mean,
the card is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sword finally helped. I haven't got much use of it this tournament.
Yeah.
Got use it this match.
Sword is a good card.
Yeah. I thought that. I thought that Michael was going to win the first game, like this with those insects kept getting in there, and then he drawing the dismember was pretty big.
Oh yeah, turned out to be.
Because I was for a long time you had like one answer and there were 2 big threats on the other side.
Right.
Yeah,
I had no other way to clear insects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Spike Shot Goblin side package.
Yeah.
Just because like I boarded out, most of my artifact destruction except for the shaman. So if you started landing those, then I don't really have a lot to do about it.
Yeah. This might be interesting to bring in the spike shots.
Have you done it much this tourney?
No.
No. It's a cool plan B.
Argentum armor, yeah. I see that go off against somebody, but that's not me, ideally.
I really want to put Scythe of Wretched on it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Seems good.
Yeah, that does seem cool. The path of a goblin shaman is a journey through 1,000 ways of hurting people. Flavor text is great.
Especially goblin flavor text.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure whether to block that Rut Wolf. Like, giving you a card was not good, but I wanted the land. I had both my 6-drops and a 5-drop still in hand.
Yeah, I didn't want to give you a land, but I really wanted another land. I was hoping to draw it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I was gonna ask if you thought about like just fireballing both, but then you didn't get a draw step that way.
Yeah.
My main observation from casting this game is that I'm kind of sunburned. It's really hot today in South Carolina for some reason. The high is like 89 or something. I don't know what's going on. It's like cooler than that in Florida. But yeah, so 6-0, huh? I have to try to. It doesn't actually matter if I join you there, but I'm gonna try.
It'll make a good final round for us.
Yeah, because if like we tie, then whoever wins the head-to-head wins the tiebreaker. But
yeah.
I just can see the rest of my matches.
The funny thing is, like, because Hunter and I are crushing everyone, like everyone else is still very live for the playoffs, even though all of you have at least 3 losses. Yuki was 0-4 and could still make the playoffs.
It has just been so miserable.
Yeah. It's not like most of the decks are not quite as artifact centric as maybe you thought at the beginning, or we thought, at least based on the deck you drafted, I would say.
No, it's like the times where the artifacts are there, I just have no way to blow them up.
Yeah. Or it seemed like most of the games you just have gotten killed by like a 6 or 7 drop non-artifact creature.
Yeah, it's like I can clear most of the board out, and then I die to like the Shieldred, the Elish Norn,
Right.
or the Massacre Worm.
Them 6-drop mythics.
Yeah.
Alright, so Hunter is back ahead of me in the standings here. Whoops.
It just needed a way to pressure my opponents, and it doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Do you still like what you did with the split infect and destruction style?
Yeah, actually, I think I should have went more infect.
Yeah.
But the value creature route seems okay too.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised nobody like just drafted a true infect deck, because like it seems like it's there, but I just don't enjoy infect. Like I just didn't want to draft that, but I figured between like maybe it's tough because it's like split between 3 colors though. Like there's not much mana fixing.
Yeah, but like you don't need to have like the aggro infect deck.
True.
Like Blight Mamba, the Wolf, Trigon are like the 3. What are some of the best infect cards that were in the limited format?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, this might be an interesting one to revisit again someday, because it seems like there were a lot of options because there were so many colorless cards.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun to draft.
That's what we are going to have to start thinking about next season, because we're like in round 6 now. So probably like, 3-4 weeks will be done. When should we play our game?
I think we should do a vintaged next.
Vintage or Legacy. Yeah, something just like with an enormous pool. See if we can actually build broken combo decks, because it seems really hard to build combo decks in the formats we've chosen. If we do Modern again, maybe I'll just like first pick Emrakul and see what I can do. I'm not even sure how you do that exactly, but there's got to be some way.
Make it happen.
I mean, in Legacy or Vintage, it seems easy.
Do Polymorph.
Polymorph? Okay, that's not bad. I
mean,
mean, like
Polymorph and Mass Polymorph to do it with.
Yeah, and Legacy you can show and tell and sneak attack, and there's all these sorts of things you could do.
Drafting Sneak and Show sounds really fun, actually.
Yeah. There's lots of fatties to choose from. Okay. Yeah, let me pause the recording, I guess.